So yeah, what I was telling you guys is that you have an option here on Chef as well. All right, I have muted Mihai also. Okay, so what I wanted to show you guys is we have a place on learn.chef.io. Yeah, this is the so you can go here and if you come over here, tutorials, here you have all these options, okay? If you see here, learn the basics, manage a node, develop locally. So you make sure that you finish all of them one by one. You start with learn the basics, right? In fact, this one gives you all the options, right? If you want to start with which one you want to practice with. So I suggest you practice with at least two, okay? Not only Linux, you practice with Windows Server as well, just to make sure that you have the basic understanding of the Windows Server as well, how we work with the Windows machines with the help of Chef. So, for example, let's go to Ubuntu. Yeah, then I'll ask you what kind of virtualization environment you're using. In our case, we are using this Vagrant and VirtualBox, right? You can check it out how it works on Amazon as well, and how it works on you if you want to have a free virtual machine, Microsoft Azure, so all kind of options. So in our case, we'll check Vagrant and VirtualBox since we are already working with this one, right? So this actually, if you go through these one by one, so this talks about what exactly you are going to do. Then on the next step, you will have, if you see on the left hand side, you have all these options, right? What exactly we are going to do. So this one, first one talks about how exactly you set up your machine. How exactly you initially, install your VirtualBox and then Vagrant on your laptop, and then Chef DK and all those things. So basically configuring your workstation. So this is the first example. You can go through it for a kind of refresher if you want to go, but we have already covered this one. What we can start with is if you go back once more and one more. Yeah. So manage a node will tell you how to bootstrap a node and all those things. If we come over here, manage a web application. This will look familiar to you guys, right? If I say, once again, start with Red Hat this time, and so we'll talk about all these things, right? So this one you can use, or if we come back, I think this is the one we're talking about. Let's say Red Hat. Once again, choose, let's say, Vagrant and VirtualBox. So this one will talk about how exactly you can set up your Chef server, how you can bootstrap your node, update your nodes configuration, right? All these things. So just one by one, you, as I told you guys, just check about them and you just practice them. It has got all the instructions and everything. You have already have all those things. So where you want to come is, if you see on the address bar, learn.chef.io/tutorials, you need to come to, okay? And all these are individual exercises which you can do, which you can go ahead and do, okay? So first two sets. This one is for a different purpose. Actually, Chef Automate is a different application altogether within Chef. So this is for a different purpose. So first two and this three. So first five, you can go ahead and check it out, right? And you can go through all of them. Okay. So till the time I'm sending you, anyways, I'll create some assignments and send to you guys because this is needed for other batches as well. But till the time I'm giving you, you can go ahead and practice with this one as well. This is also a very good practice one. And as you can see that you have options for Ubuntu, and the same practice you can actually do for both or all the three options like Ubuntu, Red Hat, and Windows servers. Okay, especially the first two, I would suggest getting started with Chef, right? these two, learn the basics and manage a node. Make sure you do these for all three types of environments, Red Hat, Ubuntu, and Windows as well. Okay, then you will have a very good understanding of all three environments. Right? And from interview perspective also, you should be aware of how things work, how we set up Chef on Windows server, Windows, as well as how we set up Chef on a Linux side, right? So that is very important. All right, so moving on to our course. Let's start here. What we have here. So I think roles we have seen yesterday. Let's today we are supposed to cover environments. So anybody can brief me up what exactly environment is? Do you remember at all, guys? Yes, no, maybe. Nani, do you remember?
I do remember, but I can't tell you exactly.
No problem. Whatever you remember, just let me know. Any issues, we are going to cover it again. So this will act as a refresher for you. Can you tell me the difference between organization and environments? One very crucial difference.
Organization contains everything.
Okay.
Environment will be the part of the organization.
All right.
Maybe environment may be the type of the organization, like Windows.
Your voice is very low, Vasu. Can you speak a bit louder?
Yeah, is it like environment is like different flavors of working operating systems?
No, not really. Let me show you. I think it should be here also. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Within the same environment, you will have. I think when we were talking the first class when we talked about Chef, when we covered Chef, when we spoke about organizations and environments. Let me in fact bring that up. That will act as a refresher. That will help you guys because concepts are very important, right? I will always tell you guys. Right. If you move past this one. Yeah. So this is the hierarchy, right? You at the top you have a Chef server. Chef server contains organizations. Organizations contain environments. Environments contain roles. Roles contain nodes and recipes and cookbooks and search like that, right? So search is not exactly an item. Search is basically a functionality within Chef, which helps you search anything which you want to search in the environment. Yesterday we saw an example with the help of role, right? So similarly, you can search anything. And when you do search, we are basically talking about the OHI. The attributes we can search, roles we can search, anything. See, as you see, organizations and environments, they are right at the top, okay, of the Chef hierarchy. One important difference, let me just do a refresher once again for you guys. If we talk about organizations, right, we have right at the top. The examples of organizations, it can be, if you have a Chef server, you can have different organizations for your companies, right? You can have multiple companies. Or within a company, you can have you can have multiple business units, right? Or multiple departments. So you can have separate organizations for your sales department, marketing department, finance department, IT, right? Like that you can put. And each of them you can put in individual organizations, right? That is one example, one very good example of using it, right? In case of you are using hosted Chef, right? In that, when you register your company with the help of your email ID and username you give, right? So username and company name and email ID combination it takes. So your organization, your company, which you register with, is typically an organization. I think I told you guys when you register for hosted Chef with your company, it basically creates an organization on the Chef server which is hosted, right? Important difference between organizations and environments. If you see the second line, organizations share nothing with other organizations, right? So if you have, say, company A and company B, or say you have organizations for your within a company, you have organization for finance department and sales department. So finance is an organization for you, sales in an organization for in your shift server. So sales and finance organization, they will not even know about each other. They don't have any kind of like relationship with each other. They don't even know about each other's existence, right? And you can't share anything at all between them. They are a completely separate entity. Okay. Whereas environments, they don't have any such thing. Okay. There are things shared between environments. Typical example of environments, how we use it is development, staging, and production. Right? It can be pre-production. It can be staging environment, or it can be test environment. You can have, right. Within test, you can divide different environments. Correct. Say you have a number of web servers. Sorry, not web servers. Say you have a number of database servers. Okay, and you want to segregate, right? Or even in case of applications, suppose you have different servers and you have 3 or 4 different types of applications. Application A, application B, application C, right? App A and B and C. You can create different environments among these, right? So the fundamental difference between an organization and an environment is that organizations, they do not share anything at all between them. Okay, if you see this line, share nothing with other organizations. And as I said, it's as secluded that the one organization does not even know about other organization that the other one exists, right? Whereas in environment, they do know about each other, and there are certain common functionalities which you share across environments. So is that clear?
Environment should be within the organization.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
If as per this diagram, right? Let me just go back.
Yeah.
This one. So if you start from the top, you have a chef server. Chef server contains organizations. Organizations contains environments. And again, one chef server can have multiple organizations. One single organization can have multiple environments, and they will have multiple environments. If there are not multiple environments, then there's no point in keeping the separate environments, right? And environments will have different roles, and each role will have multiple nodes. Each node will have multiple recipes, right? Each recipe will be there in a cookbook. So this is the hierarchy how it follows, right? So first 3 should be very clear to you. Not the 3, first 4 actually. Chef server, then organization, then environments under we contain roles under, right? These should be absolutely clear. Okay, I hope things are clear. Any doubts, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have cleared role. We have covered roles yesterday. We have seen attributes. So now let us look at environments and how they work. Right? What exactly is the use of environment? So what exactly we do is describe what we will do. What we will be covering today is describe what an environment is and how it is different from an organization. Right? That is one thing that we will see. Then we will see set cookbook version constraints. What do we mean by that? Is that I told you, right? We share a couple of things within environments. They do share. What will happen is, say you have a cookbook. You have a cookbook called Apache, right? We have created cookbook Apache in our previous classes. So cookbook Apache, say you create versions. Okay, say we have version 1, version 2. We'll also see how we create versions in cookbook. I had told you initially, but today we will do it. Okay, so what we will do is, what we want to do is, say, let me show you an example actually. Right. So let's say we want to have let's say we have environment production and we have environment development, which we will be covering actually in a bit. And what we want to do that we want to Apache 1.0 and Apache 2.0. What we want to do is obviously once we have different environments, each environment will contain a number of nodes, right? Now tell me one thing, guys. One question here. One single node, can it be a part of multiple environments?
What, Sherry? Can you tell me once again?
I have a single node.
Okay.
Can it be a part of multiple environments?
In Node, yeah, it can have multiple environments.
Okay. What about roles?
Roles will be single,
Single as in?
as in environment.
No, I mean, I have a this production node and I have a development, production environment, development environment, right?
Okay.
So can I have a node by name node 1, which will be part of production environment, and same node is part of development environment as well? Is it possible?
No, it's not possible.
Okay. Why?
Because those two are different to each other now, different versions, and we are working different.
No, forget about version part of as of now. See, this is again we can do, but we don't need to do always. We can have Apache 1.0 working on both the servers and in both the environments. That can also be done. Both having 1.0. That's not a problem. That we can set up. Right? In this situation now, can we have node 1 belonging to both production and development?
No, not exactly. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it can be. Yeah, it can be. Only roles can be not possible because they become different environment.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, I'm talking about a node. So node, you are telling it can be part of different environments.
Yeah.
And is it possible, say role 1 and again role 1, a single role belonging to two different environments?
No.
Single role belong to, yeah.
Okay. How about organization? Can a single node be part of two organizations?
No.
No.
Why?
It can't be shared.
Okay. So that part is clear, right? A single node or a single role cannot be part of two different organizations, because as per the definition, organizations do not share anything at all among each other, right?
Yes.
Actually, in organization part, you guys are absolutely fine. Even the environments, they also don't share. A single node cannot be part of two different environments. And similarly, a single role cannot be a part of different environments. Okay. So one node or one role will always be part of only one environment. A single node can be assigned to do two different roles. That is also fine. That's absolutely okay. Okay. And for example, I have a role 1 and I have a role 2. I can actually go ahead and assign this node 1 here, and I can go ahead and assign this node 1 once again. This is absolutely possible. Okay. But the first option, this one, environment, that is not possible. Okay, so just keep that in mind. A single node or a single role cannot be part of two different organizations, and they cannot be part of two different environments, right? But a single node can be part of multiple roles. You can assign multiple roles to a single node. Okay, that you can do absolutely. There should not be any problem.
So how I understood is like a database server can be application server, but both cannot be in two environments.
Yes. Take an example of development, production, and testing. So one server will not be part of multiple, all of them, right? Now that sounds logical.
Yeah.
One server
Yeah.
cannot be development server and as well as a production server. Can it be?
No.
No, right? So that is why that is where we use the environment. That is a use case of environment, right? So a single server can be a production server as well as a development server as well as a test server, right? But during role, we have seen some examples that you can create a base role, right? And say then you have a after that you have a say app role, app server role, something like that. These both role you can assign to a single node, right? This you can do. Similarly, base role, then your web server role or say DB role, DB server, make it. This you can assign to node 2. So one node is actually belonging to two different roles. This is absolutely fine. Once again, this one. And so yeah, as I said, one role, multiple roles can be assigned to a single node. As you can see, this is a real life example here, right? You can have a base role. I think we spoke yesterday that best practice is to divide roles in such a way that you have an initial role and then you on top of that role you apply the application as per the application. If it is an app or a DB or a web or say networking, you can assign that role, right? I gave you an example. Just give me a second, guys. There's a call. Just please be online.
Vasu,
Yeah. Yeah. Nani.
I just want to tell you something. Like as we created a cookbook, okay, Apache cookbook, there we need to change some code, okay. Instead of Apache 2, I gave Apache.
Okay.
So you want to change in that one. Otherwise, you can't. That's why it is throwing an error when you are doing Chef client in another environment.
Oh.
Go to the Git, it is showing the error.
Okay. Okay.
So
All right,
better.
yeah, guys.
Just need to edit the code. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I will let you know when you finish this one. Okay.
Yeah.
If
Sure.
you can be for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, continuing with that. Sorry for the call came. Okay, so as I told you, so a single node cannot be part of multiple organizations and multiple environments, but a node can be part of multiple roles, right? And vice versa. So yeah, that is about the environment. So environments also do not share, and I think we saw the example that a single server being in production as well as in development, right? That's not exactly a feasible thing, right? So let's continue. So we have different environments. I think this is logical to you guys. We will have development environment. We will have a staging and production, right? Different environments. This will be part of a single organization, right? Or a single company, whatever it is. Every organization starts with a single environment, right? Environments reflect your patterns and workflow. So basically, depending on how how many environments you have, for example, development, test, and staging production. Some people might have more, some people might have less. So depending on that, you divide them into your environments, right? So if you further segregate that, actually what will happen, then development environment will have again a set of web servers, DB servers, and app servers. Test again, it will have all those web DB and app. Then staging again will have web DB and app. Like that it will work. Production again, it will have web DB and app servers, right? Typically. So that is how you each environment will have similar set of servers, and especially in case of production and staging, if you see, there will be a replica of each other, right? So that is where the chef or a tool like Chef or Puppet comes into picture. That they help you streamline. They help you make sure that your environment is consistent across. Right, whatever you have in your production environment, the same thing you have in staging also. Same thing you have in test also, and same you have in development also. Because if you don't have a consistent environment, you will have a code based thing working, right? You develop something in development servers and then you put it into test, it will fail because the configuration is not the same, right? Platform dependency will come into picture. Even if that goes past the testing stage, it will eventually fail in production because the production environment is completely different from development. So it should be same, right? If it is same, then developers have an exact replica of the production environment. They can test things in a very consistent manner and in a very trustworthy manner, right? They will make sure they will be sure once they see that okay, they are developing things on their machine, and if they are working in their own development machine, and if the configuration is same, it will mean that it will work on production machines as well. It will not fail later on, right? So environments define policy, and as you see that what happens is production servers needs certain YAM repositories, right? How exactly? There will be differences, right? There will be similarities and there will be differences in terms of different types of environments, right? So in production, you might have a lot more security features enabled. You might have certain things less in your development environment. Production needs certain YAM repositories which are not there in your QA or your developer environment because the packages are maybe different, right? So different versions of the same cookbooks you can use in different environments, right? That is what we will see actually on the future slides, right? So
Sorry, Sharif. What
yeah.
exactly yum repos means? I know we used a lot in my previous version,
Um,
but I'm
I'll tell
asking
you.
you now.
Actually, Yum repository. What happens is Yum command. Right? You use Yum command to install things on Linux machines. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So what happens? You have a repository of Yum. Repository means it already has a list of packages, and if suppose package X supposed to be installed, where to download it from. Okay. So you will have those things already configured in on your Linux machines. Okay? In fact, if I show you an example, if I have a GitLab one instance, right? So what you can do actually is you will have this etc. Let's see, I have it here. Oh, I think it is because of the access part. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm working on this is a Ubuntu machine, right? Yes. I'm looking for a YAM repository on Ubuntu machine. I'm sorry. This is also an Ubuntu machine. Let me check if this is okay. I don't have any CentOS machine as of now. So in Red Hat, actually, what happens, Nani? In Red Hat machines, you have this thing covered, right? What happens is, and you have a yum repository which you need to configure. So there is a yum repos.d file which will be there on inside etc folder, and you need to configure things for you, right? So that is what it means. So what will happen is you will have different. In fact, what you want, you can do. You can just go to this. Yum. Yeah. So this should be helping you in understanding yum, right?
Yeah.
Right? Or what you can do is you can just go to this one YouTube and type yum repository. You will understand there will be a lot of videos to make you understand, right? So basically, it's a yum repository, how you install, how you configure, and all those things, right? Before actually, you can use yum
Is
command.
it like apt-get?
Exactly like apt-get. Only thing is apt-get is for Ubuntu, yum is for Red Hat.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So just go through. It's a typical Linux concept. You just go through it. You'll understand. Typical what? Yeah.
Yeah. Just ask what is the difference, exact difference between yum repos and the normal repos? We created Jeff repo.
No, don't get confused with that part. Um,
Okay.
Repo is just a name to tell you repository something. See, repository word means a place where you store something,
Yeah,
right?
repository is the store.
Yeah,
So YAML
repository is a
for
place where you store things. So again, in different contexts, the meanings are different. When we talk about Git repo, so we're talking about the Git repository, the name given. So each repository basically talks about a code base where you keep all your projects, right? So basically, what happens? It maps one to one project per repository. That's how typically it works, right? Chef repo basically talks about Chef repository, and it tells that this is the repository where you have all the Chef related files stored. So in Chef repository, you are storing your .chef, you are storing your cookbooks, you are storing all the other things along with your cookbooks, right? So that is why we are calling it Chef repository. Similarly, Yum repository is actually all the files related to or associated with your Yum utility on the Linux. Right? So there is nothing called normal repository. Repository is for a specific purpose. So we have Git repository, we have Chef repository, we have Yum repository.
okay. Now I'm clear.
And we have Docker repository, then we have background. So anywhere where you have for a specific task when you want to save file to a specific location, it's like a stable for you. That's all.
Okay, it's clear
Okay.
now.
Okay. So yeah, if you need to share cookbook, you likely yeah. The point is you cannot share cookbooks between organizations, right? So when you want to share the cookbooks or roles, you likely want to create environments rather than organizations. Correct? So environments allows for isolating resources within a single organization. So what happens is environments actually help you categorize or help you isolate things, but still having a relation between them, right? So whatever say development related things you can development servers you can keep in a single place, right? All your staging servers you can keep in a separate place and manage them separately. Similarly, all your production servers, obviously production servers are the most critical ones, right? So you don't want to mess up with them at all. So you keep them in a separate environment called production, and you will pay special attention to that particular environment, right? So that is how you segregate and isolate. But still, you want an isolation, but you still have some connection between these two, right? So you cannot create organizations. Organizations also do the same thing, but there is no once you create organizations, they can't talk to each other. That you don't want. You still want some kind of connection between them, right? You still want resources to be shared among them, right? How we do that? Let's see. Okay. Before we do that, actually, there is a small thing which I have not told you somewhere. I think I missed it. Okay. What happens is, in this case, let's see, knife book show touch. Oh, okay. This is
Sorry.
hmm.
Actually, whenever we are doing the cookbooks here, like even though if you don't have the cookbook, it is creating the cookbooks in the chef workstation, but it is throwing the error when you go inside the cookbook. For example, if you go to the GUI,
Hmm.
sorry, website, and then there it is showing the error. The cookbooks are not present. So do you want to create or do you want to update the cookbook? For example, yesterday we used one command no, to create the
Which
cookbook.
command?
Like in yesterday class, to create two cookbooks, MOTD and users. You told that the cookbooks are not present. It may throw you the error. That's what you told.
Huh? No, I'm sorry, not getting the what exactly you want to say, Nani. Can you please repeat?
No, actually, whatever the cookbook names we are
Hmm?
creating through the command line, it is creating automatically
Right.
without any content. Like for example, without giving anything, it is creating the cookbook what in the command line, but it is showing the error when you go into your website. Like for example, Chef Manage,
Hmm?
it is showing the errors over there in the cookbooks. The cookbooks are not present. So do you want to create or update? Like
Yeah, I mean, see, first you create a cookbook on the workstation, then you need to upload it before you can see on the GUI, right?
Yeah, but okay, I will discuss with you with exact command. Sorry, you can continue.
Okay, okay,
I'll tell you later on.
okay, fine, no problem. No problem. Starting live, cookbook show Apache. Let's see what does it show us. So as of now, I have a Apache cookbook, and there's only one version of it, as you can see on the screen, right? What I can do now is how to version a cookbook. First of all, let's see that, right? Why we want to do that? By the way, any idea, guys? Why you want to version a cookbook?
Um,
It will, according to the changes, we need to do the versions because we may use that cookbook version 1 in different node,
Yeah.
sorry, different environment, and we need to use the same cookbook in the different environment
Yes.
or
See,
different node.
I'll tell you example in a better way so that you understand. See, when you have a cookbook, suppose you have an Apache cookbook which actually creates and configures your web servers, right? Now, say you want to have a different applications or see different homepage versions. Okay, everything will be same, right? So there is no point in writing another cookbook for the same reason. If you have just a small changes, so what you can do, you can create two different versions, and of course, you will be committing all those changes to your Git repository, and you will be pushing those changes to the main Git repository that you have. So what we will do is we can say, for example, we have Apache 0.1.0. Now we need to go to say cookbooks, Apache recipes defaults. Let's say this one. Okay, and I want to make some changes here. So let's say, for example, I have made those changes and I have saved this file. Okay, then what I will do, if I want to make those changes and if I want to let's say have a version, right? So say I've made some changes, I want to create a different version. So before uploading, and I want to preserve this version also, right? Whatever changes I made, it's there on 0.1.0, right? So I want to have both the versions available for some reason, right? So what I can do before uploading, what I need to do is I need to go to Cookbooks, Apache, and if you remember, there is a file called metadata.rb. So if I do a cat for this file, you will see a version, the last line, right? So we have a version here. What we need to do is same file. We just need to come over here, vi, make it 2. Then just come out, save. Okay. And now what we need to do is actually we can come out of it, right? And we can do a knife cookbook upload Apache. Right? So we made some changes to the cookbook, to the recipe. Then we changed the version of it, and then we are uploading. Now, if you see, it is telling you that it is uploading Apache Cookbook 0.2.0 version, right? It's taking a lot of time, guys. Meanwhile, we should be able to see this. Earlier, when we used Knife Cookbook Show Apache, we had only one version. So once this is done, then we again, if you want to, if you want to see, this should show two different versions of it. I think it has been done. Let's see. Knife Cookbook Show Apache. So, not surprisingly, it shows you both the versions, right? So this is how you create versions of a cookbook, right?
It will show only after uploading.
Yes, only after uploading. Yes, because whenever you run any knife command, and if you say a knife cookbook or knife command or whatever, it does not fetch things locally. It fetches things from the chef server.
Okay.
Right. In fact, we can actually test it out. Let's see. Let's do the same thing again. What we will do, we already have version 0.2.0 updated, right? So let's make another change inside that cookbook file. Okay. Sorry, not a cookbook file, rather metadata.rb file. What we will do now, let's make it
3.0, yes.
0.3. Right. And once again, save it, come out of it. Now, before we upload, let's run the knife cookbook show command again. We have made the changes in metadata, but we have not uploaded the cookbook. Still showing the same, right? Now, if I go ahead and upload,
so all these knife commands are from the server?
yes.
Okay.
Knife is basically an API call to the server. Whenever you run the knife command at the back end, it starts an API call to the server depending on what command you have run. Okay. And if you work with API, what will happen is actually you have different types of API requests. So say you just want the information. For example, in this one, uploading cookbook, it will create a post API request. If it is only you want some information, it will be a get API request. It will be a fetch. So depending on your requirement, get, put. So if you work with API, you'll understand more about it. So now if you see, I have uploaded a Cookbook Apache 0.3.0. Now if I use a Cookbook Show Apache, it should show me all three options if everything has gone well. Yes, as you can see on the screen. So that is understood, Vasu?
That's clear.
Okay. So yeah, so let's move on with our example here. Now, important thing, how do we see the current environments? So we just need to do knife environment list. This will show you all your current environments, what you already have. Yeah, so as of now, it should only show default as per the slideshow, but we have already created a couple of them. But let's just go ahead and quickly delete them. Knife environment. I think it's a remove command. Let's see if that works. Oh, okay, so it's delete, not remove. Sorry, my mistake.
So all these commands will work without knife initial in the chef server in the command prompt, command line?
No, you need to have knife installed.
Oh.
On your chef workstation, you can't do anything without knife command.
No, if you go to chef server and in the chef server's command prompt, I can check all these commands.
There you have different commands. There knife will not work because knife is for API calls, right? So chef has got something called chef server CTL command line. Right? So the command line is different. You still can get all the information locally if you want to log into chef server. But the commands will be, it will not be knife calls. It will be different. It will be chef server CTL, right? Something like I want to show you.
No, it's like if you do SSH to chef server, then
yes, if you SSH, then you are supposed to run this command. It will not work here, of course. Yeah, I mean, we don't have this one. On chef server, you can just do chef server CTL and type help. It will give you all the command options. If you want to check it out, you can actually go ahead and explore it. You can just go over here, chef server CTL. Command examples. If you do this, this should give you. And this is the one here. If you come over here, it's a huge documentation and you have all the commands listed over here. So I think, I'm not sure if I told you guys, actually, you need to keep one thing in mind. At times, because you have a lot of other things on chefs, you might get confused. So always keep this kind of rule of thumb. Okay. If you're running chef server CTL, this will always be on your chef server. Okay. If you're running this command, that means you're on the chef server. Okay. And you are up, if only you're on the chef server, you have to run this command only, this kind of format, right? If you're running knife commands, anything related to knife, then you are on your workstation, right? Agreed? And if you're running chef client, then you are on your chef node.
Node, okay.
This is the ground rule which you need to remember, right? Knife command will not work on your chef node and it will not work on your chef server. Similarly, chef server CTL will not work on your chef workstation, as well as it will not work on your chef node, right? So this is how you should remember which command where to run, right? This is kind of, at times it becomes confusing, especially initially when you're working. You tend to run different commands at different places, right? So this will make it easy for you guys. And for documentation, chef server CTL. As I told you, chef server CTL, I've told only the basic commands to install the chef server, because the idea is you should not be logging into the chef server. Okay, you should not be needing to log into the chef server, right? That is why we have chef workstation. You should not be logging into chef server because of security concerns, right? Unless you want to do something with the server itself. For example, you want to make some configuration changes. You want to patch the server, say for example, or you want to update the server. Only in those situations you are going to log into the chef server. Other than that, working with the chef infrastructure, working with notes and cookbooks and recipes, you do not need to log into the chef server, right? And whenever you get time, just go through this list of commands. You will get a lot of more information how to do, what to do, and all those things, right? So you will have different commands, and with examples, it is listed. Each and every option is listed here. Some of the things which you can do is you can check the client keys, and you can check the user keys. You can check all your what are the users you have for chef. All those things you can check over here, right? So this will show you all the keys and everything. Yeah, organization. This is organization you can create, and all those things you can check over here. Organization creation you can do only on chef server, right? Or create you can't do on your workstation. You need the server for that. You can be on the chef server GUI, or you can be on the chef server CLI. Okay. So yeah, some of the things are there for which you do need chef server, but for most of the things you don't need it. You just need to be running. You don't need to log in, rather. I should say like that.
So
okay.
all
So
these
continuing. Sorry.
chef.client, all these chef.client commands, they're from the workstation.
Which chef client command? I'm sorry.
The one you write it down there.
You mean these ones?
Yeah. Chef.client.
Chef hyphen client, chef minus client. That is always on the chef node, not on the workstation.
Always.
See, first, Vasu, do you understand chef server, chef workstation, and chef nodes?
Yeah.
You understand, right? So these are three components in chef, correct?
Yeah.
So these three components, once again, I'll reiterate. Chef server CTL, this command or this utility you will always run on chef server. Anything which has to do with knife, you always run on the chef workstation. You don't run anywhere else, right? Let me show you. If you run it, see, this is my chef workstation, and this is one of the nodes. If I run knife command here, knife node list,
No, don't work.
it should not work, right? So as you can see, it is not working,
Knife is not configured.
right?
Okay.
Similarly, if I run chef, this is my workstation, right? I'm running chef client here.
It doesn't work. Sorry.
Right? So it will not work. So, and again, I'm not logged into a server, otherwise I would have showed you. Any of the knife commands will not work on the server, right? So this is
Sharik, like after creating the after creating a privileged user and organization, we don't do anything with the chef server. That's what. Like as a
whenever you do, you can do a lot of things with the chef server, but for your recipes and cookbooks and the things which we are doing now, for these things you don't need to log into the chef server. See, anything you do has to do with chef server only. You are uploading to chef server. When the node chef client run is happening, it is downloading things from the chef server. The chef server is present over there, but you don't need to log into the chef server for most of the things.
Yeah, because if you do any changes in the server, like it will affect all the things.
Yes.
So we are not going to do any more.
If you need to log into the chef server, then what is the purpose of chef workstation?
Okay. Yeah.
That is the major difference between chef and Puppet. In Puppet, you don't have the workstation concept. Puppet, you directly log into server and do things, right?
Oh, okay, okay. So in that case, if you do any errors in the Puppet server, so what will happen?
Yeah, it will good. Things will go wrong, right? But that is what happens, and that is why actually Chef is went one step ahead and created this complexity. See, this is adding complexity, right? Adding other component called workstation, right? So, but there is a reason why.
It will remove the complexity, or it will add the complexity. Chef is removing the complexity now because from Puppet.
No, in the sense, Puppet concept is simple in the sense it has got a server and a slave and master. That's all. In Chef, you have a slave, master, as well as a workstation. So that way it is adding complexity in terms of hierarchy and architecture. But there is a purpose to it, why it is happening. Right? That's what I want to convey. Right?
Okay.
And what situations we use this chef? We going to the chef node and use the chef client commands. We don't need to go to node, right? We can do everything from the workstation.
Yeah. See, I'll tell you what happens. You need to run chef client from the chef node, right? But practically, if you have 500 nodes or if you have 100 nodes or 500 nodes, you can't log into each node and you run chef client from there, right? Okay. What you do is, once you have the node is bootstrapped and once your node is working absolutely fine, once it is reporting on your chef server on your GUI, what you need to do is you need to create a cron job entry or you need to create a scheduled task if it is a Windows server. What will happen? Every 15 minutes, every 5 minutes, whatever frequency you set, chef client will initiate automatically. Okay. So this is not something which you do manually, chef client. Right? This command, the way we are doing it here on these machines, we do this, right? Sudo chef client, and we wait for the changes to take place. But this is not the way it happens in the enterprise environment. This is something which you set up as a scheduled task. Every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, it will automatically run on every node, right? Every node will have this utility installed and configured to run every couple of minutes or like that, every half an hour, depending on use cases, right? This is completely up to you how you want to set it up. What is the frequency you want to set? Okay. Right? So you create a cron tab entry. In that case, you don't need to log into the server, right? First time when any new server has come in, you bootstrap the node, you configure the chef client and all those things. Then you configure chef client on your cron tab entry. So every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, it will run automatically. Then you don't need to log into the server. You make the changes to the recipe, you make the changes to the cookbook, upload it onto the chef server, and make sure that recipe is part of the run list. right? So here you don't make any changes. The changes which you make is over here. Okay, this is the node. I have this node, right? Once it is bootstrapped, once we have configured the chef client run, the job is done. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh, Sharik, like, can you in the comment or what you are saying? Cron tab. Can you write? Just write. I will search in the Google.
Uh, you want me to write that down, is it?
Yeah.
Cron tab entry. Cron tab. This is what you need to do.
Okay. Cron tab.
Okay. On your machines, let me just recollect if this is right. I'm a vagrant, and what I do is I can see cron tab -L if I do. It will show me. So as of now, there is no cron tab for vagrant. So there is no scheduled task set for this particular user. Okay, cron tab is for each user in Linux. So for vagrant, it is not. Nothing is there. And cron tab -E is the command if you want to use. If you want to create one. Okay. So just again, once again, you just go to Geek Stuff, that website which I showed you, and mention that cron tab. It will give you all the examples how you can do it in Linux. Okay.
Yes, clear.
This one will be a bit important. Like maybe in the interview point of view as well. So
Yeah. So in case of Linux, whether it is Red Hat or Ubuntu, it will be cron tab. If it is Windows, it will be scheduled task. All right.
Okay.
So once again, there you have an option to schedule task. If you open the tab, you will see that you have an option to create the task, and you have the option to set up the frequency through which user you want to run the command and all those things. So that's again a typical OS thing, how you do it. It has nothing to do with Chef. And depending on the node operating system, it varies. If you are managing a Windows node, it is a different thing. Managing a Linux node is a different thing. Mac, it is a different thing. So depending on which node you are working, it varies accordingly, right? So basically, you are setting that to be run every 5-10 minutes or whatever frequency you set. You're scheduling the job. This typically what we call it scheduling the job, right? In any of the operating systems. How it works depends on the operating system, right? Okay, so moving on, knife environment list we have, which already showed a couple of them. Let's do it again. I think I deleted one of them. So environment list. So I had dev as well. I have removed that. Let me quickly. Okay, let's prod be there. Let's prod be there. Okay. Yeah, one important thing, when you don't create any environment, you will have this underscore default there by default. Okay, it will be there already if you don't create anything, right? So even in our case, as you can see, that is already there, and prod is the one which we have created. So this one you will always find, right? Even if you don't create anything, this will be created by default. That is why the name is given like that, right? So what happens is, what we do is, let's see how we create a new environment. Okay. So in Chef repo, we create this folder environments, right? So I think I should already have that. Let me just check. No, it's not there. So what I'll do, mkdir environments, right? Now, just like roles, for environmental also we need to create a file with RB extension. So we are creating a dev environment, right? So I need to have a dev.rb file, right? So let's create that. vi environments dev.rb, right? I do a name, dev, description, developers, right? Here, as you can see, we'll set this up. Cookbook, Apache, comma, just need to set it like this. So 0.0.0. This is what I need to set. And that's all, right? So what essentially what we are doing, if any node belongs to
Oh, your voice is breaking.
Is it better now? Vasu, Nani, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, as you can see on the screen, we need to create this file, and with the last line, see name, obviously name and description, I don't need to explain. Cookbook that I'm mentioning, when I mentioned the cookbook name by Apache, I'm mentioning this one. So what happens? Any node, if you make it a part of dev environment, automatically when you run Apache Cookbook, it will take 0.2 version instead of 0.1, right? So that is how you restrict a Cookbook version for each environment. Right? So how it happens, that we will see in action right away. So let's save this file, come out of it. Now we have that file saved. With the help of that file, we actually go ahead and create an environment. Once again, similar to roles, we create knife environments from file def.rb. Okay. Updated environment dev. So now if I do a knife environment list once again, it should show me both the results. It has both. And if I go ahead and type show dev, it will show me the details about that environment, right? You can see what is the name of the environment, cookbook versions, if there's anything, and a description, and all those things, right? Name is dev, type is environment, all those things you can see. Apache, a specific version is only 0 or 2.0. So this is how you can use setup for each environment. Now, how do we make that take effect? We need to come manage. As of now, do I have anything? Okay, this is Apache test. If you let me just do it a little bit up. Okay, now it's better. GitLab 1.
Vasu, can you mute?
Yeah. If you see here, if you don't give any environment, it will take the latest version. Okay, 0.3 is the one which we have given. So that is the latest version. Now I have my dev environment, I have restricted to 0.2.0, right? This is the place where you change your environment, right? You click on the drop down. You have, okay, I think it's not this one. Let me just refresh it because dev one we have created now, right? Okay. I hope I should have. So as you can see, now we have dev environment. At the moment, just look at the bottom. If you see here, Apache 0.3.0. Apache is already there in the run list. You remember we can edit the run list from here. You just go here, click on edit run list, and it will make the changes, right? So we already have Apache in this one. Just select this dev environment and look at the. So yeah, it is asking whether you want to make the save the changes. As of now, this is 0.3. Okay, guys. The moment I save it, look at the bottom. Do you see the changes?
Yes.
So this is how you restrict a single recipe having multiple versions and specific version for a specific environment. This is how you make sure, right? So this might not mean a lot to you now, but when you actually start working in enterprise environments, you will see this makes a lot of difference. And this is very crucial feature of Chef, right? A single recipe having different versions working on with different environments, right? How it will work, say for example, mm, see we have Apache 1.0, then say 1.0 is the one which is there on the product, which is the stable version. It has been tested and it has been put on production. So if you remember now, in case of Git, if you remember, we had master branch, then we had development branch, right? So we don't make any changes over here. We don't want to disturb this main branch. What we do, we create another branch with 0.2.0. So versioning and branching is very close. It's same as branching. So you create a different version. 0.1 is absolutely fine. You keep on working with 0.2.0. You make all those changes. So what will happen now? 0.1.0 will be for your production nodes, right? And you want to test your Apache node, I mean 0.2.0, whatever changes you have made, you want to make sure that goes on the development machines, right? Because you want to test those things. Similarly, if you have say 0.3.0, so what will happen? Suppose you have made a couple of changes and you have already, it is successful. Now you want that to be tested. So what will happen? 0.2.0 will go to test environment. And now you have a new branch, which is you already gave that to for testing, and you further went ahead with the new features or new things in your cookbook. So this one now becomes your development branch. So that is how a use case for different environments, right? Same recipe, different versions, different environments. And this is how you restrict them to work on each other, right? Especially similarly, what you can do is you can have a, I think, let me check what is the version for prod. Let's see. So if I make it to prod, it should automatically change to a different version if version has been assigned. So okay, for prod, there is no version as of now set. So what we will do, now once again, if you go back, you make it again dev, right? Save it. This becomes 2 again, right? So this is how you save and then you make the changes for a specific node, right? And when you run the Chef client once again, whatever changes you have made, accordingly you can see there also, right? That which one is going to take effect. The same thing is being repeated here for our production environment. The same thing we need to create for products, right? So yeah.
One small question. Can we delete a cookbook in workstation? The first station.
Sorry, can you?
Can I delete a cookbook which is already created?
Yeah, definitely you can do that. Yes.
But
Right.
I don't have,
Right.
for example,
Yeah.
not using. It is not listing here.
It's not listing here.
No, it is not listing because I have
Okay,
created
you
the
had
cookbook.
a different. Okay, what I would suggest is what you can do. I'm not. I'm not able to recollect whether you have it. What you can do is you create a cookbook with the same name over here. Say on your this one, on your GUI, you want to date a cookbook. Say go to policy. Let's say, because I think I have the same situation. Apache test should not be there according to me on locally. Knife cookbook list. If I do,
Yeah.
it will show me Apache test because it is fetching the details from the server. So typically it should show over here. Yeah, Apache test it is showing, right? However, if I go to CD cookbooks, if I do ILL, I don't have anything called Apache test.
Yeah.
Right? So what I can do, let me test it right away with you. I think I can do a knife cookbook, create Apache test. As of now, it has got version 0.3, and I think it will have some content also. Yes, it has got a couple of things from, I think it should be from attributes, yeah. Okay, so what we can do now, it is created, right? So now we should have that folder, Apache test. Yes, we do have knife, cookbook, upload, Apache test.
Will it do the blank? Will it?
Yeah, the cookbook is blank. So typically, once it uploads, even the cookbook on the GUI should also become blank, and with a 0.1.0, as you can see here, right? So this will override the existing ones. Okay, let's do a refresh. Yeah. Okay, no, it's still there. Still coming a bit. Okay, now let's do a refresh. It's still showing the same one.
Will you go, if you go to the cookbook, can you see whether you have something like default.rb or something? Can you go inside that?
Default.rb will be there, but there will not be any content. Let's see if it is syncs over here.
See,
So let's do cd cat Apache test default, sorry, recipe defaults. So it's blank over here, but it has got content over here. Now let's do something. Let's delete. So knife cookbook delete Apache test. I hope delete is the right word here. Yes.
Okay, that's the versions.
Oh, I should have pressed 4 actually. I'm a mistake. I did that. Yeah, so I should press 4. Right. Now if I do a refresh on my GUI, right, because Apache test is no longer existing, right? So what I need to do is I need to come back to the books page.
Oh, okay.
And Apache test is gone. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Because like there I'm getting the problem. Like,
Yeah. So what you can do, any cookbook you want to delete, and if it is not there on your workstation, just do first create cookbook with the same name and then delete it. Right? So it will sync up and it will delete, no problem.
Thank you.
All right. So I think after that, nothing else is there. Once again, the same thing you need to create. So it will show that, you create an production.rb file inside environments folder and put this content, right? The same thing. And this time, instead of Apache 0.2.0, you give 0.1.0, as you can see here, right? And then you give it to the production, and based on your, then you run sudo chef client to run, okay? And based on your environment, as per the environment, the recipe will take place, right? So yeah, so now you should be able to understand the difference between environment and organization, right? That is the most important part. All right, guys. So any questions, any doubts?
No, not really. Like
So as I said, it might be initially a little bit confusing. You might not be able to understand why should I use environment or why should I use roles and all those things. But as you work in the enterprise environment, things will be more clear to you, right? And as we discussed at the start of this class, you go ahead and check learn.chef.io and go through the tutorials, at least a couple of the initial ones of them. Just check it out. It will give you a very good starting point for exercise. And once I have the assignments ready, I'll send it to the right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Question, please. No. Mihai? No. Okay. All right, guys. Then tomorrow, once again, it's a Friday. So if you have anything to discuss, any questions, any doubts, just let me know maybe at least 2 hours in advance and I'll come online. Otherwise, you guys can come online and practice. You don't need me. You can have a discussion that will help you out. Right? Any doubts you have, anything? Um, if tomorrow during discussion you come up with any kind of questions, just note it down and one of them you send me a mail or send me on WhatsApp and we'll discuss it on Monday when we start the class. And just make sure you utilize this 3 days and make sure you have the full revision of Chef, whatever we have covered so far. This will leave us only with the data bags. Okay, we have covered all the things in Chef except Chef data bags, which we will see on a Monday or a Tuesday. That is not a kind of related class. Data bags I can show you separately. So Monday, probably we will start with Jenkins. Okay, and we'll see what exactly Jenkins is, and then we will continue with that. Right. So make sure you during these next 3 days, you practice each and everything whatever we have covered about Chef. Okay. And make sure you have that learn.chef.io as well, all those exercises complete.
Okay.
All right. And any doubts, any questions, you just ping and I'll try to reply you as soon as possible. Okay?
Okay.
All right then. Thank you.
Vasu, if we can say, if you after you like finish that one, then we can.
You guys are staying or what?
Yeah, just for a 5 minutes because.
No problem. I'll drop off. You guys can continue. No problem.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.